Hello. Today we're going to be talking about Jupiter's move into Capricorn and how this is likely to influence, in a positive way, the current pandemic that we're all living through together. I'm Ramdas, Bill Sinclair, and I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and click the like button so that we can stay in touch. I'd like to talk about Jupiter's kind of complex transit in and out of Capricorn. So Jupiter's going to enter Capricorn on March 29th, and he will then be in Capricorn, and then on May 15th he turns retrograde at 3 degrees of Capricorn. This means he starts to back up. And he will re-enter Sagittarius on June 30th. And he'll continue to move backwards until September 13th, when he reaches 23 degrees of Sagittarius. He will stop and he will turn direct again, and then he'll start to move forward. So this is, when a retrograde cycle involves two signs, it's considered to be more complicated and more direct. So I kind of want to talk about the two areas and how we may experience each of Jupiter in Capricorn and then returning to Sagittarius. So when he goes into Capricorn, he will be in his weakest sign, and in astrology we say that he is debilitated. Now, usually that's really bad news because we think of Jupiter as this, great, benefic planet who's always giving us things and expands the energy and provides protection to all of us. So I was thinking, what happens when he goes into Capricorn? I mean, right now I think what we all need is more protection, and we think like, oh, how terrible, we're going to lose that. But then when I really started to look at it, I realized that this virus started, it really took off in January of this year. At that time, Jupiter was seated in Sagittarius, and so was Ketu. Now, Jupiter represents, as I said, Ketu, protection, expansion, and Ketu represents the virus. So on January 5th of this year, they occupied the same degree. At the conjunction, and this I'm speaking astrologically, not scientifically here, like Jupiter picked up the viral energy from Ketu and began to protect that energy. And then it was, because it was starting to grow very slowly around China, there was a few cases in Asia. But really what triggered the global expansion is when the moon came by on January 22nd. And that's where it took off. And the moon represents the public. So we often look for Mercury or Moon to pass over a troubled combination, and that's when it really takes off and we see it start to produce results. So I was thinking about this, and I read, a friend of mine put a thing on WhatsApp that I read, and it said that viruses are actually, it's a little piece of genetic material called RNA that's in a protein and lipid coating. So lipid means fat, and Jupiter rules fat. So I think there's a very interesting correlation here that Jupiter, which means fat and protection, and Ketu, which means viruses, came together, and then they took off. So I think really what happens is that Jupiter picked up the virus, I'm talking astrologically again, and carried it forward, and the moon hit there, and it went really widespread. So I thought this is an interesting thing, and so in light of that background, I think Jupiter going into Capricorn, his debilitated sign, will be quite good, because first of all, he will separate from Ketu. So Ketu, they won't be exchanging any energy anymore as he changes signs, and he will be in a weaker sign that is ruled by Saturn, the natural planet of contraction, where he's the planet of expansion. And I think this will help to, flatten that curve we're talking about. This may help to reduce the subtle energies that are underlying all of this information. And I want to stress that. I love reading scientific explanations. I think in this case it was really kind of illuminating to read it with an astrological eye. But I want to emphasize these are very subtle planetary energies. Like they're working on, a very refined level. So I just read a thing that said sunlight, the UV light in our sunlight can't kill the coronavirus. And yet, we know that the sun itself is about health and healing. So I think perhaps not on a gross physical level. And they say the UV light can do it, but it would have to be much stronger and that would damage the skin. But I think there's a subtle change, and we'll be talking about that soon when sun becomes exalted. So I think we can kind of put together some very interesting factors here. That Jupiter will go into Capricorn on the 29th. He's there. He'll be there up retrograding back until June 30th when he comes back into Sagittarius. So I think this could be a turning point, and I think my hope is that this is where we start to see all the curves start to go down. We start to go past the peak, and we start going more into recovery. The other thing is once he's back in Sagittarius, he's moving in a backwards motion. So, and he will go all the way back until September 13th, where he stations again, and that's at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. So I think he'll be kind of, often we see retrogrades, you have to watch 3 passes, the forward pass, which would be expanded the virus. I'm hoping on the second pass he will contract the virus and help to lessen the impact. And then as he moves forward again, we'll start to see the final results. And it's usually much faster before he goes through, and then he'll go in and stay in Capricorn. At the same time, the other good news we're seeing in this period is on September 23rd, Ketu moves out of Sagittarius for good. And for 18 years. But he'll move out of that and back into Scorpio. And I think that will definitely mark the end of perhaps the pandemic phase of this. We may still be going on, we may be working with vaccines, but I really believe that's when the recovery will start. So I wanted to share these ideas with you, and we can just all, support each other and see what's going on. I hope that this was helpful. I welcome your comments and questions, and I thank you very much for watching. Namaste.